Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday. It is hot and humid here, as you can see by my hair. I just finished up a bunch of work and I'm super excited to talk to Lauren. We are working on so many good things for Fresh Starts. We are launching our membership community coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. We are going to tell you all about that. We have a awesome IG Live coming up with one of our divorce coaches, and a lot of good stuff. Today we're talking to Lauren. We're going to have her come in here. Let's see.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Good. Sorry, hold on one second.
You're all good.
Technical problems here. Oh, and dog barking. It's so nice to see you today.
I know. It's nice to see you. It's much earlier by you. So I'm almost about to eat lunch over here.
Are you? Yeah, it's only 9 o'clock on the Pacific Northwest.
But it's so, thank you for coming, and I know it's early, but thank you for being here. I love talking to you and seeing your face. So
Same, Olivia. Same. Thank you for having me. So
Of
let's talk
course.
about divine timing of life, because life always throws us curveballs we don't expect.
Yes, and I'm in like a very much like a crossroads right now with like stuff, and I feel like
Right?
yes, with we have our two businesses and we're trying to grow Fresh Starts, and I feel like the universe has been throwing us some curveballs
Uh-huh.
the last week to remind us that that's what we're supposed to be doing. So
Truth. Yes.
so I definitely feel you. So yeah, let's talk about it. So first, before we get into it, because this is we're gonna put this on YouTube and all the good places.
Oh,
Just give us
okay.
a little background on like who you are.
Who I am. So I'm Lauren
Yes.
DeGolia. I call myself a clarity consultant because I use astrology as a tool to help you find the clarity that you seek in your life. Many people think astrology is about really shitty memes you see on the internet and want to laugh at all the signs. And while that is fun and I appreciate levity a lot, I also have discovered that there's some really beautiful wisdom that your astrological chart has for you. And it's a powerful way to tap into letting go of kind of that past story or belief system that has been maybe holding you back or is making you feel stuck, and allows you to kind of shine a light of compassion on your journey and help you understand it more, so that you can move forward toward the life that you actually desire and want to create for yourself.
Yes, and I will add that I've done some mini readings with you, and
Yes,
you
you
are
had a
like
mini reading.
spot on. Like you are so good at what you do. So
Thank you.
if anybody is looking for clarity with anything or with just we'll talk about divine timing, but Lauren is definitely you know your stuff, and your background is not in this, and so I do feel like you tend to bring in a lot more like of the business intuition as well, because you have a big background in business as well. And I'm just going to add a couple things because I love talking to you so much.
Mm-hmm.
Your Lauren's newsletter is amazing, so if you're not signed up for Lauren's newsletter,
Thank you.
I love it. I save it to read it as soon as I get it.
Do you really? That makes me feel so good, Olivia.
I do. It's like a magazine.
I mean, that was my goal. So mission
It's
accomplished.
awesome. It's awesome. So just tell us a little bit, how can people work with you? What does that look like to work with you? Is it a one-off thing? I mean, I know you have a lot of classes and courses.
It's so funny you ask because, if you read this week's newsletter, you know that I am adopting the mentality of Summer of Simplicity. So I had this really big aspiration to launch a new program that is literally going to change the world, and it still is, but not this summer. It's on the back burner. My husband is actually writing an app for me to support that. But I'm actually recrafting some of my offers. My primary offer has been like a astrological reading kind of consult, and I'm turning that into a 3-session offer where we're going to unpack your chart in the first session. I'm going to inform you. I don't like using astrology as like, let me tell you who you are.
Yeah.
It's more of a two-way conversation of, this is what I see in your chart, and let's figure out together what that means. And then and then giving you tools, like I mentioned earlier, to help you really like transmute, unpack, let go of the parts of you that are feeling really dense or stuck, or I'll just say uninspired, because a lot of us go through those little seasons, especially when we're going through like major change and transformation, that we just don't know like what to do or where to go or how to make sense of things. So that first session is really like, let's get to know each other. Let's figure out what this looks like. And then the second session is all about integration. So figuring out how to use some of the tools. I do guided meditations. I am a certified rapid resolution therapy coach. That does not make me a psychologist by any stretch of the imagination, but it does allow me to help you work with your unconscious mind to remove some of those belief systems and thought patterns and those racing thoughts of anxiety that really like keep us on a loop. And so the second session will really be built around integrating some of those concepts, some rituals, some practices that allow you to, you know, be more in the present moment and find joy in the present moment instead of feeling like you're stuck in the past. And then the third session will really be about like future self design and like, who do you want to become and where do you want to go? And me, you know, I've, over the course of my few years of owning this business, I've come up with some pretty signature methods on how I think about that, from a very unique way of vision boarding and energetics and all the things. And so I've just decided like I'm launching it this summer. It's going to be at like an introductory price for a certain amount of time.
I love that.
Yeah, sorry, my phone is acting a little odd. And then after that, like, we'll see where it goes. But that's going to be my summer of simplicity, is like doing little micro transformations over some 3 sessions and going from there.
I love that. I'm definitely going to be signing up for one of those, by the way. I
would love that.
I am. I'm so excited. I need it. So let's talk about divine timing. I'm a huge believer in divine timing. You know, I'm a big believer in the universe supporting you. I've had many people tell me, just release to the universe. It's got you. It's very hard, right? It's almost like imagining like the universe is so big and it's there and it has like all of it. So just explain a little bit, I guess, to the people that maybe don't know, like, what is divine timing and how can we use it in our daily life to feel empowered?
Yeah, so I'm gonna just I didn't do a lot of prep for this because I just decided I was gonna let things channel in. And what just channeled in was divine timing is about trusting your intuition and the ability for you to surrender and not trying to logic your way through life, right? And that's what a lot of us try and do. In fact, I just got off my coaching call with my business coach, and like, even now today, like, I still struggle with this. This is a lifelong journey of, you know, wanting to be like A plus B equals C, where divine timing is like, the magic happens when we release that expectation that the universe is supposed to deliver something to us in a certain way, looking a certain way, acting a certain way, feeling a certain way, and just trusting that it's all going to be okay. It's really about a belief system of you know, who you are and really like what you deserve in this life. If your belief system is like, I deserve greatness, I desire greatness, like, and you start looking for evidence of that, it's going to show up.
Oh, I love that. I love that. There's so much there. You just said I could like unpack all of that. So divine timing, first of all, the connection between divine timing and intuition, which I am a big intuitive. I use my intuition as much as I can. Intuition can often be clouded by anxiety, right? So
correct.
how do we, you know, or what's one tip that you often will give to your clients to like separate out those feelings between maybe it's anxiety or premonition, or maybe it's intuition, or all of that?
Yeah, it does get confusing. So there's a couple things that I would recommend. Number one, if you're having racing thoughts, which is a lot of what anxiety is, and it's like that tight chested, like body on the edge, like, oh my gosh, this has to work out, like control, like the tight fist
Right.
grip, this must happen. If that's how it is feeling, that is not intuition. That is your subconscious or unconscious mind, like trying to get you to take an action, which is causing a feeling, which is wanting a certain result or outcome. Okay.
Okay.
So these three things are really important for people to understand when they're in that mindset of, and anxiety creates like a fight or flight sense, right? Like we want to take action so that we can fix that emotion that's coming up. That's what your unconscious mind is programmed to do, to keep you safe. Like it's doing its job.
Right.
Now, intuition is knowingness, and a lot of people are like, people say that and it's such a loaded bunch of whatever. Yeah. Like it doesn't seem like it does anything, right? However, I would say that the feeling of intuition is a lot lighter. It feels like freedom. It drops in and it feels inspiring. And so however that drops in, like, yes, it might be a thought. Yes, it might be a feeling. Yes, it might be in your gut. It might be in your heart. It might be like anywhere in your body. I believe that everyone feels intuition somewhat differently or uniquely to themselves. And so being clear about that and experimenting with that is really important.
And how can somebody like work on their intuition, like in little tiny ways? Like, you know, is it, because it all goes back to trust in yourself, right? Intuition is all about trust. So like, or how can we, you know, teach our children to trust their intuition? I know these are big questions, but you know, just like, you know,
how long do you have today, Olivia? Like, how long are we on this live for?
I think we need to like make a conference. I think that's the next step here. Is we
I mean, I would love that. Yeah.
So, but you know, just like, you know, as somebody like you didn't, and I'll use you because I know your story a little bit, but you had a fresh start kind of into this career. And so how did you follow your intuition through your fresh start? Like, were there signs? What was the divine timing like for you and with all of that?
I mean, my soul was screaming so loudly. And I think a lot of ours is, right? Like our soul, we are feeling crushed under like massive rubble. Yeah. And we're like, get us out of this situation. And it doesn't actually matter what the situation is. But my soul was like, help, but you need to stop. Yeah. And I just decided one day, I actually had been using oracle cards to help me like verify what I was thinking and how I was feeling against what an oracle card was like mirroring back to me, right? Because it's essentially a projection. And I think that that is one amazing tool that people can use that seems a little bit woo-woo, right? And I was not woo. I think a lot of your followers need to understand I was anti-woo and I am now an astrologer. Like, come on. I use these cards to like ask questions and check in with myself, because that's really what it is like doing that little like check-in, like how does that message resonate with me? What do I do with that information? And that helps you to build like little incremental trust milestones. Also, saying no is a really great way to build trust with yourself. When you're getting a signal somewhere, either in your body, in your field, that is not the thing for you, and you say yes, you know inherently that you are giving up a piece of your, for lack of a better term in the moment, power. You're giving up a piece of your sovereignty. And so the more that you say no, the more that you're able to trust that you know what is for you, because
Right.
you automatically know when you say yes that the thing wasn't for you, but you're going with it just because you want to go with the flow.
Right. And be a people pleaser or
Right.
please the something else that is not about you and your intuition.
Correct. And so
Right.
it's important. You asked about children. I have a 10-year-old son, and I encourage him to, like, hey, how do you feel about this? Like, not what do you
Mm-hmm.
think about this? When we ask our kids, because they
Mm-hmm.
are highly intuitive children. We
Mm-hmm.
don't give them enough credit for that. Like, they know, just like we as moms know what
Yep.
is intuitively right for them. They intuitively know whether or not things, feel good or don't. Now, granted, there's a whole slippery slope there I don't want to go down necessarily today,
Yeah.
but asking them to learn, to trust themselves, I
Yep.
think is really important. And then if the information they get back, maybe isn't what was expected, that's a great teaching opportunity. But the more
Right.
we can encourage the continuation of that connection to self,
Right.
the better off they're going to be long term.
Yeah. And I found too, like with my kids or with myself, even just having moments of quiet has been
Yeah.
really helpful, right? To like, connect with like, okay, what am I really feeling? Right. And I think what you said before was something that my therapist has said for years, which is right, like, intuition is calm and anxiety is more chaotic, right? So when you feel that, I too was somebody that had that little voice that said like, I don't want to do this anymore, and I know I was just listening to Elizabeth Gilbert in an interview, and she said the same thing, that her inner child was like, please get me out of here, like. And I think it's so important that we are so like trained to kind of ignore that voice in our head, but that is really the voice we should be listening to more than anything.
100, 1000%.
Yeah.
And, the image that just flashed in my mind was laying in bed on Sunday night and the Sunday scaries of just like, what is this week going to hold? And how do I navigate this? And what am I going to do? And the sky feels like it's falling and my chest feels like it's going to explode. That's anxiety. And that's your soul saying like, this is not for me.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's so true. So can you give us just some vague examples of like what the kind of things you work through with your clients are? Is it relationship stuff? Is it work stuff? Or, what do people come to you for? Or is it general?
It's all of the above. So a lot of people come to me, and it's funny because their chart usually signals that they're going through a transformation, right? So
Mm-hmm.
they've been led, they've had some usually intuitive hit, because a lot of the people I work with, like, are first time astrology, like, I've never done this before, I don't know what to expect. And so a lot of people are like looking for answers, right? Like, we look for answers when we're going through kind of the hardest times of our
Yeah.
life, pretty
Yeah.
much wherever we can find them. And when I was going through my bit a few years ago, I was like, I had no clue that astrology was going to have the impact that it had on me. But I cover everything. We talk about relationships. I talk about, the energy that they have access to. We talk about how it works in their life. We discuss, everything from work to business. I do a lot of business coaching as well. I spent more than 15 years both in the pharmaceutical industry and quality assurance, and then at a luxury retailer here in technology for about 6 years. And it runs the gamut of kind of everything. People going, releasing really heavy old traumas. I had a client just the other day who was like, Lauren, I've never said what I just said out loud to another soul in this
Mm-hmm.
universe. And, my job is to be an expert space holder. My job
I
is
love
to
that.
allow people to like really like come and be who they are. I hold, I believe, amazing space that's judgment free, and whatever you need to say and let go of, like, that's on you. You get to do you.
And how does the concept of divine timing work in with your astrological chart and the moment that you were born? Like, before we close today, I just want to, like, get that relationship there.
Yeah, so let's talk about that. So what people don't realize, because again, lots of memes on the internet, what people don't realize is astrology is just as much about timing and making sense of your life and the time points of your life as it is about like understanding these different zodiac signs and the energy in your life. And so what I do during my sessions is I go through and based on some signatures in your chart, I pick out some dates and I'm like, hey, tell me what happened in this time. Hey, tell me what happened in this time. And the accuracy of me being able to pull out dates that are significant to you is like, I don't know, like 99.9%.
Yeah.
Like, and it's usually that you reflect on it later and you're like, oh my God, there's so much more that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the divine timing part is like those things were supposed to happen then for you. That was a part, whether it was like, you know, and it could be something really great, and it could have been something that was a happy or joyful time, but it also could have been like dark night of the soul,
I mean,
awakening.
100%. I mean, I went through my Pluto transit during my divorce, and so
Yep.
I did a astrology reading then, and she could tell, she was, you know, did the same thing. She was like, did your divorce start on this exact date? And I was like, yeah, basically. Like, she could tell exactly, you know, what was happening. So yeah, very much.
So I can tell you all of those things. We can unpack that. Again, there's usually some energy that you're holding on to, some density that you're holding on to. My goal is to help you move past that, move through that, at least in that first session of just like getting clear, right? Like letting it go. There's a level of acceptance, a level of compassion. That's what astrology really taught me, was being able to look at your journey through a lens of compassion, of like, oh my gosh, here's this soul that has been through some stuff. And how can I honor that stuff and also like use that as an opportunity, as fuel in my rocket ship to propel me to the person that I desire to become? Because we all have like a certain element of light inside of us that feels squelched, that feels, you know, snuffed out, and we all want to like reignite that in a way that feels inspiring. And that's why we're on this self-growth journey. That's why we're always trying to show up in a different way or learn new things. So that divine timing, like understanding that in the like retrospectively, is really powerful. And then in the present moment, like that divine timing allows us to co-create moving forward, looking into that future self and being like, how do I want to show up? What do I want to create for myself?
I love that. I'm so excited to have my reading with you.
I mean, it's going to be like 3, sister, because it's a series now.
Excited. Before we leave, what was I just going to say? Oh, do you want to give any information about what you're launching in the fall, or do you want to wait and hold on that?
Yeah, no, I'm going to hold on that. Okay. It's all going to be integrated. People who work with me over the summer of simplicity, are going to get kind of a preview. I have a lot of little tips and tricks, rituals, practices, habits to help you build, again, in the mindset of that future self. I am hosting a pretty kick-ass solstice event next Saturday, the 16th. It will be streamed live from Cincinnati, Ohio, of all places. So it'll be 9 a.m. Eastern time, 6 a.m. Pacific. But I am collaborating with 2 other beautiful souls. You get a yoga session, you get sound healing, you get an intention setting practice, and I'm going to talk about all the cosmic insights and what the significance of summer is. So if you are needing a fresh start, if you are wanting to activate a part of yourself that is feeling a little like it needs maybe a refresh, join us. The price is like out of control good. We priced it exactly right because we wanted to get as many people in as possible. If you're in the Cincinnati area, there's room to attend live. And yeah, I'll send that along so that you can maybe send that in this letter. I'd love for you to share that.
Yeah, we would happy to. That sounds great. And if anybody is interested in working with Lauren, she is obviously one of our amazing experts. So she's on the Fresh Starts Guide. All of her information is there. You can click and you can email her. You can get in touch with her. She's also she's gotten you're all over the press. You're like in Bustle, you're in
I
Left Right,
am.
you're
I'm
everywhere.
everywhere, Olivia. Thank you for that gift. Like, what the heck?
Yes,
It's so
you're in
amazing.
well and good. So it's awesome. We love to see that happening. But you will be sharing information about how to do like your new 3-session programs in your newsletter. So go to Lauren's website, sign up for her newsletter. They're amazing. It's like reading like a spiritual glamour magazine, and I love it.
A spiritual glamour magazine that makes my life. Oh my God, thank you.
And Lauren, you know I love talking to you, and I love everything you're doing, and I can't wait to do much more stuff with you. So thank you for being here and sharing all of your wisdom.
You're welcome, Olivia. Thank you for having me. I look forward to chatting with you again soon.
We'll talk to you. Thank you,
All right,
everybody, for
love.
coming.
Bye.
Bye.